So that's my mug. And I'll reduce that down so we don't have to worry about seeing me the entire time. At least not, I don't have to see me. I do need a haircut. I look like a little bit of a hippie. This is actually a rather good look for me when I'm, getting close to the summer or wintertime actually, and I want to have that rocking that Italian look. So enough of that. Right now I've got my lasso set. I have the anti-alias off, or aliasing for some of those out there with the 0 pixel. We want that because if you do, it's going to create that little fuzziness around your selections, and it's not going to look good at all for when it goes over to the next stage, the next colorist, which would be the renderer or color renderer. So there's 2 stages in coloring in comic books. Once we receive the line art, it goes to the flatting stage. And it's kind of funny that a lot of people don't know what a flatter is, a flat colorist. And that's what I do. I also do some coloring as well, rendering. But flatting is making selectable sections of everything. So for example, with Daredevil, the D, just letters, making those selectable. So the next person on the line who's going to make it look all nice and pretty, they can go ahead and just select it and go from there to make it beautiful, add lighting, effects, color holds, things like that. And with flatting, it's actually a very tough job. I've been doing this for 7 years now, so I've got a pace, I've got a style, a practice that actually will move along with my doing this. So I'm rather efficient and fast. I can typically get something like this done an hour, half hour to hour. And if it's panels, that could go from 2 to 8 hours, depending on how detailed the artist made everything. And there's been pieces where I've had to sit and draw out with Molasso, confetti, rocket, shrapnel, and those take time, and you just develop a method. So I've got some methods, and oftentimes I can look at a piece and see if it's going to take me an hour, half hour. I can tell, right away how long it's going to take me. On average, though, it will be about 2.5 hours for most pieces. But yeah, so I've got the lasso set for a new selection. I'm not adding to the selection at all. I've got it set. And I'm going to zoom in just enough. And I've got a Wacom Cintiq 22 HD. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to aim right down the center of the black line and just drag. And I wish Clip Studio had this feature. I'm holding down, I believe, the Shift key. And I'm going to undo, and I'm going to hold on. No, sorry, it's the Option key. Yeah, so Option set on my Cintiq. I just have it hotkeyed, so I just don't quite recall all the time exactly which one it is. And I apologize. I do have a PC version of a Wacom companion, but I will still need to learn what that is. But I'm just going down, and I'm not going in right now and selecting all the little pieces. I'm making big selections. You work big, medium, small. You hear that a lot from artists when they're talking about composition, everything else, big, medium, small. That works same here too. You want to work big to the medium to the small, and then get it done. And then it's flexible. You have to be flexible with this. So I don't have the original cover up, so I'm going to look up real quick on my phone here, Daredevil. Okay, so I thought it was a yellow. So we're just going to... Now, I'm not going to go and choose like some neon yellow or anything like that. I'm going to pick a color, and oftentimes you can go, if you ever see the little triangle with the exclamation point, you can select that color. It's not what's going to be used at the end. Oftentimes the renderer may, or another colorist who you work for will go ahead and select that and change it to the color they want. And when they're rendering, they're going to render out that color. It's going to be, CMYK compatible and everything. So this is telling me that that's a bit, so harsh, but I like to choose anything that is above this layer here. If you draw an imaginary line and an X, want to stay in this section. Now, oftentimes you are going to go and use colors that are darker in this range, but you can use them sparingly. And that's something that we learn later on. We don't want to muddy up our artwork. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop in. I'm going to grab my paint bucket. I could hit my fill, make sure I'm set to my flat layer. And once I do, I'm just going to tap. That's going to fill that in. So the next thing I'm going to tackle is the medium here for me, which is going to be this box. I'm going to go right through Daredevil. And I'm going to go outside, come back in. Now there's different ways of doing this too. You could use your wand. And I believe it's Option to get the -1 and subtract away the blue so it snaps everything and just goes straight to that yellow, and you can just drop your next color. Oftentimes the white box, or you can just grab your paint bucket and tap into the yellow area and it will automatically fill in without going into the blue. Another thing that helps speeding up your process as a flatter is holding down the Shift and Option key and making a second selection. So I'm choosing my next medium in this little box. I'm going to go a little bit whiter. And here I'm going to show that I've knocked out into the blue, and I will quickly just tap into those areas and it will automatically fill in. I'm going to grab some of this yellow. I choose a little lighter. My next medium, I'm going to go around Daredevil this time rather than cutting through him like I did with his arm. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to hit for that middle of the line art. And if not, I'm trying to run on the inside of the art just to get. Now, you may nick it. And if you do, you'll have to just go in and, make an adjustment. And I'm going to zoom in just a bit more, and I'm going again to use that Option or Shift Option to come and make another selection. And I'll tell you this right now, this is the secret. You have just learned secret. That will speed you up as a flatter. I'll choose this color. Now, one thing I did not do is I didn't really prep the artwork beforehand. So I'm just going to make a selection, see if everything comes up. And with my wand, I have contiguous turned off because I want to grab all of the selection, same yellow, rather than if it was on, it would grab just a section and a section and a section rather than a few. And again, we have anti-aliasing off as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and select. The reason why I'm doing this is because oftentimes, depending on how the artwork has been scanned in, if it wasn't properly corrected, it can actually leave a light gray film over the line art, over this line art, and that yellow I selected, if I was to select that same yellow again, it might actually be a darker yellow because it's now picking up that gray plus the yellow and moving it into this area. And so now it's going to be different. And when I make my selections or the next stage of color rendering, they go to do it, they're trying to select all that yellow, they'll see that there's two different colors. And because of that, it might be an issue. So I'll do another tutorial on how to correct for that. I'll go ahead and choose a Daredevil red. I'm gonna try to. Here I can see already I've cut into his foot. Again, I'm just gonna go, and I'm gonna actually choose all the big parts. I'm gonna leave his cane last. In fact, I'll just cut through that. All I'm doing is I'm holding down Option and making selections. I'm picking up, tapping, picking up, tapping, picking up, or I can draw. Now, like the Jamaican bobsled team, needing runners in order to be good bobsledders, I also think that you do need to have a little bit of an artistic quality to this, because one, this will help you strengthen your arms for when you're drawing, but two, there are artists out there that will omit certain areas because they want to leave it up to, the reader to see there's a wisp of hair, or the color they just might draw the underlying shadow of the color rather than the actual color itself. And I've seen, and I had to correct some artwork where the previous flatter just didn't catch on to that. And that's because maybe they just were coloring everything, or they got distracted. I don't know, but I've had to make corrections like that before. So I'm gonna grab my paint bucket. I'm gonna tap into the white area and to the yellow, and it automatically will fill. I'm gonna zoom in because we've got some very thin lines here. Let's see, I've missed a spot here. So I'm just also at the same time correcting. And I will be honest with you folks that ever since they started doing this new version of Photoshop, whenever it went over to Creative Cloud, the lasso hasn't been as accurate as it has been in the past for me. In the past, I never missed a section. But now even if I'm running the middle, it seems to always move sometimes. So I always go in right before I submit my final piece. I do a scan just to quickly see how everything looks. So here I've got thin lines. I'm just going to run my hand across, and I'm drawing right now with it. Filling, seeing what happened. Back and fill. Doesn't take more than a second. It's not like I'm spending forever. And I'm just picking up and I'm dragging the canvas with, just tapping into the center, drawing. Now, Clip Studio, if you're watching this is what I need from you. I need your lasso to do this. So when it goes from just holding down the Option key or Alt key, I can quickly draw or pick up the marquee lasso and go. Goes from a free hand to a magnetic. If you guys did that, this would be game over for Adobe. So now we're working down the next section. Now we're going to work down even smaller. So I'm just going to go and choose boot, wrap around, drop in. I'm just choosing various saturations. Hue. Sticking this again. All I'm doing is making selections. This may not be the actual red that Marvel is approved for Daredevil. If they were doing this professionally for the company or not, or if it's somebody's independent comic, it may not be the red that they want, but you're at least choosing something. Oftentimes I try to choose it with a low K tone because if too much is going to start to muddy everything. So I want to have it as last as Brian Miller from Hi-Fi says. I think it's like 240 It should all equal when you have the CMYK in value. If it's less than, then it's going to be good. I'll get back to you more on that. Don't quote me exactly. And I'm just going to come through, choose the bullwhip. Just making a huge selection for his Billy Club. Because again, oftentimes we will create either for ourselves our own comics, like my own comic, The Wayfarer. I do have a color palette. And I have what the character's color should be, her hood, her companion, and when you do get the piece, oftentimes you'll pull out your color guide for that issue, and you can just tap it in and good to go. So I could do something more with the background, put it a little dark. But, that was pretty simple. Again, using the tutorial or tactics of big, medium, small, making these selections really helped. And because I've got his red already chosen, I'm just gonna, you may see this is another technique as well that you'll see a lot of painter artists do, where they'll fill in the entire character with one color and then go down from there and they'll paint in, the other pieces. In this case, I'm just going to paint in everybody and then come back and make an adjustment. So I oftentimes do this technique if it is a rush job. It helps me then, especially if I've got multiple characters, quickly make the selection, and I can just come in and then start to work from big, medium, small. That really helps with the process, knocking it down. You can also do what some others may do is just, take your color, make a new layer and put what each color is rather than going back to the original. Oops. I'm just going to quickly save as. Throw this to my messy desktop. I always use an underscore and then a flat or the issue number, something that will differentiate from the original file so we don't override that. Now we got his face. I'm just going to keep in that same hue. Quickly tap it in. So again, this artwork is by Tone Rodriguez on Instagram at Tone Rodriguez 2000. Great guy. Just came off of a successful Kickstarter for their OMG anthology. It's cool in the back. Definitely check it out. So here I'm just holding down the Shift and Option. And in fact, I'm going to verify that's what it was. Shift. Okay, and then Option. Yep. Tap in. See, I've got some areas. These don't take too long. This is a quick correction. And I forget if Daredevil's ear is shown. It's colored. I painted with the horns too. So I use Photoshop for professionally for work, um, and for my clients. But for my own work, I use Clip Studio Paint. I find it it's not as friendly but it's because I'm also getting used to using it. It's new to me. So we're gonna stop looking at my ugly mug and just keep looking at this artwork. Again, just aiming down the center. And we've been doing this stream for, I don't know what the time is. Let's see, how long has this been going? 24 minutes. Oops. Let's come back over here. And I've already taken care of the main character. I'll come back. Grab a blue. Do the same thing. Quickly. Now you want to do this because instead of using up above, you have another tool for making shapes. Oftentimes they may not be perfectly rectangular or perfect circle. So you might not get what you want. And I never go full white. Usually want to say that for the paper. But here I'm just going and making selections, holding that shift option, and I'm just drawing rather quickly over this. I could have gotten that L. Another good skill, you're really good at those little puzzles or mazes at like Denny's or restaurants, because this is all you end up doing. It's just one big maze puzzled me. Now you can't do what I just did there in Clip Studio Paint. It's going to make them as separate selections. You have to go back over and add those selections. But in Photoshop, that's not going to happen. So that's another thing that Clip needs to up their game on. I'm just going to make my drop in, see if there's any artifacting over. Nope. Keep going. And that's technique again, just the shift and option will help speed up. And this is useful, like I said, for confetti, for doing windows, debris. You're going to get a lot of those when you're coloring. There's one artist, I won't say his name, very good. I love seeing his work. I love studying every aspect of it when I get the piece. But man, when you add shrapnel, it goes everywhere. And so I got to sit there and pick it all out, and it takes time. But it's a lot of, helps my hand, helps my, not get cramped up my hand, and muscle memory. That's what it is. I think I get a lot of muscle memory from drawing over their artwork. And I think it's really helped me be a better illustrator as well, artist, because now I've got the stamina to keep going on pages. I had a Kickstarter. It was the Wayfer issue 1. That has now shipped. All the rewards are shipped. I am just gearing up right now for the second issue. Hopefully to start in April, or at least next few weeks. Next week. What am I saying? It's almost the end of March right now. But I'm trying to get to 75 backers in the pre-launch. So I'll have more information on that, and I'll probably be doing more videos and tutorials. But stay tuned for that. Second issue coming out, I'll have a tier for those who missed the first one, where you can come back and get either digital issues in one tier or the physical. I have some great artists lined up. Again, another cover done by Shelby Robertson. And Tone Rodriguez, Andy Perez, Krista Crawford. I just realized I forgot to turn the music back on. Okay. Well, I turned that down. What do we have instead? So yeah, so I've got artists, and right now just finishing up the character sheets to send out to them, so they have what the colors are and everything. I will be making an announcement about that. It's going to be a 30-day one. I'm not going to do another 45 as before. That way I can try to get it done and fulfilled. My printer's been sending me new updates on new printing techniques and paper or everything. So I probably will do one where it isolates all the gold in the issue. So I'll do a limited run of that. But each page that has some gold or something along that line will be knocked out and shiny, so you can see that. Or even, if I want to make the red or the blue of her outfit be center stage and pop off the page, I can do that. But those will be a limited run. I do have still some left over of Shelby's cover of his Spider-Man homage available. Find that in my website at artwork https. What is it? It's not semicolon, colon, / artwork by Dutch. I'll leave that link in the description. Probably what I also will do is with this, I'll go through and edit the video so we just talk about things directly instead of all this. Whoops. I just kept choosing all of his outfit. So this is what it looks like underneath the line art. Everything's butting up. Everything's looking nice. There's no anti-aliasing, no feathering. Because it's bullseye, I'm going to just choose the same blue for his chest and our shoulders, as well as his bracelets here or whatever. So all I'm doing is I'm seeing, I'm noticing pieces I missed, so I can calculate them later. And take care of them all at once. Like here I've gone over. I forgot about his headpiece. So we are. It's almost done. We'll zoom in because now we're getting to the point where some of this line art is a little bit thin. And now I've gotten closer. I can see areas I've missed. So while I'm here, I'll make a correction. Areas I went over. Take care of them all at once. Just kind of got some spit coming out there. So you got to notice all these little things. And it looks like his here is actually part of Daredevil. Choose that red, and then we're just choosing the back of his mouth. I'm going to choose a brown for his eyes. As you know, most people are brown eyes. Very rare do they have blue. I mean, it's not rare, but not everybody's got them. So as a hi-fi member, we use scripts to go from one stage to the next. I don't use the hi-fi scripts because not every artist, colorist has them, and it's not mine to give, so I don't do it. So that's why we do this method instead. But you can do some of the similar things like color holds and more. Let's see, press when I choose more maroonish color for her size. The glisten. As you see, the lines are very thin, so I'm going to come in close. Probably will be making some more corrections. I'm going to cut through. And aiming for the same thing, right down the center. When we get to these areas that are black, you don't have to be precise as you can. Oops. Back on. You see here, like I said, we're going to hit some of these areas. No part by his butt. Yeah, this is a beautiful piece by Tone. I'm not done yet. I was just thinking a second ago that I'm going to be done here in just a moment, but I still have lettering. Now, oftentimes we don't do the lettering, but because this is what he drew, flatters. If you're doing this professionally for comics, you rarely get that. I mean, very rarely have I sat and actually had the color in cover page lettering, except for my own work. And so again, you can do them individually. You can do the entire thing if you wanted to. Paint her skin color and then break it down from there. But I'm just going to do each part again, following that big, medium, small, or going small, medium, big. You have to be flexible. Usually I don't listen to music when I am flatting. I need to time how long it takes me to do something. So I actually will put on an old TV show that I've seen a billion times and use that, because when the movie starts, when the middle part of your movie, if you've seen it a million times, and you also know that when you're getting close to the end and you haven't completed a lot of it, that okay, I've wasted, done 2 hours already, and I'm only halfway done. So it's going to probably take you another maybe hour or 2 hours. For example, I would put on Big Trouble in Little China, and I know when to stop to take a look for the important parts because I know it kind of word by word. Oops, I forgot to get that yellow section filled in, so I wasn't paying attention. Now, for these little pieces here, these triangles, I'm going to flat them in because I don't know what they are. And here's some of the hard parts. Oftentimes, all this hard work you do will end up on the cutting room floor. They may just decide it's all one solid color and paint it differently or color it differently. But at least I've made the selection if they need them. I'm going to choose some of the same colors for the arm bangles, whatever they're called. And for the wrappings, because I have that other side done that bullseye's holding, I'm just going to grab those colors and put them in. That's why you'll notice right away if the line art has been properly scanned and cleaned up in Photoshop. Because again, I like to check my work before I send it off to my client because I want them to be happy. I kind of have the Mr. Scott mentality for a few artists. Or I've even caught other artists off guard because they thought, oh, it's going to take them, 5 hours or 8 hours or something like that to do. I'm going to go out and do this and do things I need to do or whatever. And they'll come back and half hour later, depending on the artwork, half hour or 2 hours later, everything's ready to go. And of course, they got to sit down and be like, no, I got to do the work. Ambition, as Mark Brooks once told me here. I'm Jimmy John's Freaky Fast. Hopefully I don't get demonetized for that statement. Giving you a shout out. Need a sandwich though. The other thing you need to would be a flatter. I mean, I'm trying to move on to the next stage. I'm kind of at the point where I don't want to do that anymore. I mean, I do want to be illustrator, comic book cover, but as I said, you got to do interiors as well. And I do think that you need to take criticism as well and learn from it. It's not oftentimes you may make a mistake, you may forget that, hey, you forgot to flatten Electra's bandana here. And the renderer might catch it and be like, well, report it to the boss. Be like, well, you didn't do this. You get called out on it, and it's not you to get upset. It's like, okay, I missed it. And to take that criticism and learn from it. I think that's what I like most about this job is that I work with people who are in the business, who know what the next stage are, who have done this job. And so when they tell you something like that, it's like, oh, okay, I better pay attention. I don't know if Electra has green eyes. I know Jennifer Garner does. So I'm just gonna... Got to be open to it because sometimes, like I said, you might miss something. And nowadays with comics the way they're going, they're going to have tons of multiple colors on one character, like Robin. Oh, God, do I hate coloring Robin, but the Damon Wayans Robin, because he's got different color bootlaces, his shins, things different color. You're doing like 10 to 20 selections on a page, and you've got to go through and find 8 of them are just picking out Robin's different colors. So it's very time consuming. That's why I think, not knocking people in other countries like the Philippines. You guys are fantastic. A lot of you get them done quickly at a low rate for many artists, but I think that you really need to knock the price up for it, because when you're doing something and you're coloring a very complex piece that's taking you 8 hours to do, 6 hours maybe, say you're just fast, it took you 6 hours. or even just 2 hours. That's your time. Yeah, for you, that $8 might be what it makes there, but in the US, that's not going to work, especially those that do it for $4 in South America or elsewhere. So I charge a reasonable rate and want clients to come back happy and utilize my services again and again. But I would really, my professional rate is much higher. So the price I'm giving you is below, what cog in the wheel the machine is getting paid. But it's also my time, and I can't get those 2 hours back. Those 2 hours I could have been doing something else, to make money. And I really do enjoy doing this because it helps my ADHD calm down and focus, because this gives me something to do. And but I do want to be able to afford to go see a movie and pay my rent or my bills, and it's a must. And for two of the artists I've been with, gosh, almost, well, Shelby's been 6 years, and Mark, I think, has been 5. Um, I'm their go-to person for this, and the newest artist, I'm hoping he'll continue to hit me up for work because I want to see his artwork and go. But yeah, I do think that flatters do need recognition um, in the comics. Because it's not easy. It's like painting the whole house, decorating it, and then having somebody come in and do the staging. Restage everything, redo not the painting, but just rearrange things how it looks to make it a house sellable. You've done all the heavy lifting, painting all the rooms, putting in all the furniture, doing all the moving, and then somebody else comes in and makes it look pretty. Not saying that their job isn't hard, because trust me, I'm having a hard time trying to do some things the hi-fi way, coloring, to get to the next stage here, up my game, or even for my own work. But we're part of the team, so it'd be nice to. I'm not asking for like royalties. I'm just asking for, hey, name put in the book, or comp sent. Oftentimes you don't get comps. I do for some artists get comps, but that's my little tirade on the subject of being paid and being recognized. Let's see, this white, and then doing just a bit more. So I'm gonna have to create a thumbnail for YouTube on this. So we'll use the finished product here. Now, if Tone doesn't want me to color, I can send it off to his colorist and next colorist along the line, and they can quickly make this look all nice. Again, I'm just using that shift and option, and it does after a while. Fingers do cramp up a bit, but that happens. You just drop in your selection. Another little tip here. I've deselected everything, or let go of my lasso. I'm going to go negative. I think that's Option or Alt. I'm just going to quickly draw those in and go back to my add to selection. And yes, I could go. I think it's actually selected right now. Oh, I could just hit the selection button and go. As you can see above, it's switching from the new selection to add to selection. The corner up here. This is helping with muscle memory and stamina. And I get to draw over a great artist piece of work. And almost done. I'm going to go through, like I said, and do this quick scan to make sure I got everything correct. Miss anything? Well, let's see how long that take. Oops. That took me an hour to do. So I'll just quickly scan. Zoom in and out. Make sure I've got everything looking. I might change this verses to check, make sure everything's all looking right. Beautiful. And there we go. So it's all done, ready to go. So what the next stage is that after we save, the renderer can come in now and make a selection. Do Command J, isolate on a separate layer, and then I come through now and start doing the renders on it. I'll grab the brush, the hi-fi method, set the screen. Set the size. I can either cut and grad or just quickly lighten, seeing where the artwork is. I come back over and make some selections. Oops. Good. Oh wait, no. Got to isolate that layer. Set this to radial. Slowly bring in color. Come back in and do my next cut. So that's the general idea. What can happen next? So I think we'll call that a night. That's a quick tutorial. Probably will, try to edit this, get it down so it just covers the key points, and do like maybe a short or something. But stay tuned. Catch me outside. This is Dutch. I'm going to do another one, another tutorial later on this week. And stay tuned for the second issue Kickstarter of the Wayfer campaign to start. Looking for 75 backers for the pre-launch, and trying to get that going. And I'm going to offer some great rewards. Going to have, again, Tone doing the cover, Shelby Robertson, Krista Crawford, and Andy Perez. And the action builds up in the second issue. So I'm very excited. I'm actually at the point where I just need to walk away from it because I'm looking at it and my art style has changed, and I really want to change it and update it to how my current art style is. But I want to show you guys the progression of an artist. So seeing how my work, to me, is craptastic, to you might not be, but it's okay. It's an okay artwork piece. But I want you guys to say, okay, this is where he was, and this is, wow, this is who he turned into later on. So stay tuned. Check out the links. I'll leave down below for my website and other information. And you guys take care. Have a great night. Good morning, and talk to you later. Thank you.